Overall, Coach, a step in the right direction this past weekend. You just want to take us through what you saw from the team Friday?
Yeah, you know what? I think it started right after the break. We played some real good hockey down at the GLI tournament. That was a great venue, obviously, and great for our team to go through that experience with close to 9,000 fans the first night against the best team in the nation, Michigan State. And obviously, we're a little nervous after the first period, but once the game settled down, I thought we started playing better hockey. And, you know, to hold them to 2 goals was good. We had some chances to convert, but that was a tough contest. And then obviously against our biggest rival, Michigan Tech, I thought that was a tightly contested game like it always is. And I thought we fought back to tie it up, and we had a chance to win it. I think we had 2 or 3 good looks within a minute and a half of the game. We weren't able to convert, and then obviously they made a good play in the overtime. So I think those 2 games to kind of round out the first half was a good experience. They're good. They're strong at every position. And I think the biggest takeaway from that game is we willed our way to win. Our special teams was good and our goaltending was good. So we won the special teams, we won the goaltending battle, and it was important for us to kind of get over that mental barrier that we can win on any given night, but we got to bring a certain mentality to the game. And then on Saturday night, I think they were right on top of us right from the get-go. Again, their special teams was better, their goaltending was better, and they were playing on their toes a lot more than we were. I'm gonna say you heard me, or am I doing a redo?
Well, no, you're good. You're good. Keep on going. I'll stop you.
How quickly could you tell that Saturday was going to be different from Friday?
We told our guys, because they dropped right out of the pairwise. I think they went right to 16, which is below the cutoff line. So it was a must-win for them. They got everything on the line just to have someone in our league go to the tournament at the end. So they wrapped up their game, and they looked like a first-place team, and we didn't. We couldn't match their intensity. I didn't think we matched their workload or their battle level, and I think the game was, in my opinion, won in the first period. And that's a team that's desperate to get to where they want to get to, and deservedly so. They were the much better team on a Saturday night.
Well, let's jump ahead. Road trip.
Yep, and again, you always learn from every game, and we learned how we have to play on Friday night consistently and not play on Saturday night. But our goal going into the weekend here is we got to get some points against Bemidji here. We talked about this being a process. Well, the process has been very good in terms of our workload, how we play, and how we compete for one another, and the guys are still having a great time coming to the rink. Well, now we got to equate our will, which we've shown over the course of time, and no quit over the course of time, and combine that with quality of play. When you do that, you're going to win hockey games. And that's been real inconsistent, but that's the makeup of our team. We're young, we're inexperienced, and it's been a tough grind, but there has been no quit. But we believe if we go in and raise our quality of play and continue with our will and no quit and compete, we can go in there and come away with some points.
I'm going to jump back for a minute. Did you feel like on Friday you played a full 60 minutes?
No. There were segments where we're a little sloppy with the puck. For our group, I would have probably kicked in 50 minutes, which is pretty good for our group. But a big, again, portion of that was special teams. When you have special teams, you're going to draw fatigue, both when you're penalty killing so much and when your team's on the power play and certain guys aren't playing. And it might mess up the flow of the game. But I thought for a good 50 minutes, I was real happy with our game on Friday night.
The problem is they couldn't stink and miss.
I know.
And that doesn't help.
No.
Because you said all the right things, and I don't think it mattered.
Yeah. Here's where I say it would matter. It might have not mattered to win the game or lose the game. It might have not mattered in the sense of we'd probably be down either way. But if we had done things right ourselves, is it 15 instead of, I don't even know what it was, 26. And 15, you could have walked into the locker room at half and gone, all right, guys, they played incredible. Let's us play incredible the second half, and we can come back from 15. 26, not happening. And so I think, that's where the frustration comes in on my end. It's not that we lost the game with how well they played. It's that I thought we had a quit in us for about a 10-minute stretch in there. The last 4 minutes of the first half was actually, I think we won the last 4 minutes by, because I always look at segments, I think we won that segment by 4 points. So it was even worse. So from about the 12-minute mark to about the 4-minute mark, for that 8 minutes, we just quit. And our team has not quit like that, I don't know, in a long, long time. So that's the part that I think as a coach you try to focus on with your team. Saying that, you can't take away how incredible Tech was, and that on that day we probably aren't beating them even if we play well. So I think you gotta acknowledge both things. I think if you only are like, oh man, we were bad, I think that's a disservice to Tech and a disservice to our team. But if you're also just like, yeah, it's fine, we're just victims, I think that would be not acknowledging that for 8 minutes in that game we kind of quit.
Did it help that you played Monday instead of Saturday in this case?
Well, first I wanted to play Saturday because I just wanted to play. But probably, we took Friday off, had, some meetings with some guys individually, and got to kind of collect ourselves. And then I thought we had our 2 best days of practice all year, Saturday and Sunday. I think collectively they felt the disappointment in their effort and their preparation going into that game. And I think we all felt like we let a lot of people down. I'm one of the things I'm the most proud of here, and we have a lot of things that I'm proud of, but we've been so good at home. The records are great, but on top of that, the losses we've had have been to borderline nationally ranked teams, and they've all been great games. So for pretty much 3 straight years, if you came to a Northern Michigan men's basketball home game, you were either guaranteed to walk out of there winning or seeing a phenomenal game between 2 great teams that we lose in epic style. And so it's just really disappointing that we have a great crowd there, and for the first time in 3 years, people left going, oh, that sucked. That wasn't a good product. And personally, that I feel like disappointed by that, and I think I wanted our players to know that that's not okay, and that's not something that we should feel okay about, because it is a thing we're proud of, is putting on a good product week in and week out, night in and night out at home. And we didn't for, like I said, the first time in 3 years. And my hope is that maybe I always talk differently than other people, but like, I don't want to let that go. I want to keep being angry about that and having a chip on our shoulder about that. And it's not something that we're going to stop talking about, because you need to know what it looks like when you aren't preparing the right way and don't show up completely ready to go and play a great team.
Because I'm old, I'll briefly mention this. Once upon a time when Magic Johnson won his national championship, State played like absolute garbage at Northwestern of all places.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it happens. And I know you don't want to dismiss it, but you somehow want to build off it, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not that I don't want to use it as a positive. I do. I want, and it does happen. And I want to acknowledge that, why it happens. And I'll say this, is if we had practiced really well heading into that game, I'd have a different opinion. But I thought we had won 7 in a row. We had just beaten, Grand Valley, for whatever reason, at Grand Valley always feels bigger, and I don't know what it was, and we played great. And we were really happy about that. And I want them to be happy. We can't go through not celebrating great wins. But then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we didn't come out, and I knew it. And so maybe that's the other part. Maybe if we'd had great 3 days of prep and then that happens, I would have gone, okay. But That's what we can control. We can control effort. We can control how we prep, and we didn't control it well heading into the Tech game. And if it wasn't for that other part we talked about of letting people down, just as a coach, I'm not saying I'm happy it happened, but I think that when you lose like that, you want it to be when you didn't prepare right, so you can at least say that that stuff matters. And in this case, we had 3 days of bad prep. We get, play terrible. We had great days going into Grand Valley and Davenport. We played great. We had 2 great days heading into Roosevelt. We played great. I think at minimum right now, everybody in that locker room is convinced that if we practice well, it'll lead to us playing well. It might not be 100%, but it certainly gives you the best possible chance night in and night out.
So where were the improvements last night?
Yeah, I thought right away our energy and effort was just, we were, even though it didn't start great, we were just flying around, and the talk was great. The bench was great. Everybody looked like they were playing joyful, because as much as we're talking about being angry, it's also in the game you have to play with joy and not be scared of losing or expect to win, but just lose yourself in the process of playing the sport you like. And we had that back from the warm-ups on. I thought we were tough. The first half, we were definitely tougher than them. The second half, they came out and responded. But I like that we kind of set a tone in that game. And then I do think adding Cal, getting him back from injury and having another shooter out there. This team's biggest problem is we don't have enough shooting. And so anytime you can interject a shooting into that mix, it's not just him hitting threes, it's the spacing it's providing for others. And it was definitely nice to see that, nice to get him back.
And Jackson certainly came out and was a nice, obviously nice contributor last night.
Yeah, for sure. And, one thing I'll give our guys a lot of credit for is you go into that locker room against Tech and you're down 26 or whatever, and, you can do a bunch of different things. But one thing we did is we played a little different. We put Cal in there for the first time, and then we played Jackson more, and we tried to get some of those guys going. And Jackson's been shooting it really well in practice, and we ran some different stuff where we just kind of had him setting ball screens, popping, playing a little more free. And, we won the second half against Tech, I think, or it was close. And Jackson and Cal were really good in the second half. So does that lead to those two playing great against Roosevelt? It clearly did. So now does that lead to those two? If at the end of the year you tell me we get Cal averaging 10 a game and Jackson averaging 12 a game from here until the end of the year, I'd sacrifice the first half of Tech every time to get those two going. So, if we can pull out positives from negative situations, I think that's the key to it. And I will say, and I was talking to a couple coaching buddies, and they're all like, well, yeah, it's easy for you to say, even before last night, you're sitting at 10-3. It helps that we have that one really bad game in a otherwise successful season. You can't have those same learning lessons if that's happening night in and night out. And even not just one season, but the success we've had in the past, it allows that situation to maybe be handled a little bit differently, and our guys respond a little bit differently than if that was maybe a normal thing that happened to us.
Can't bet them all.
You can't. You want to, but you can't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can talk. I'll
No,
let
it's
you.
Let's, go, keep going.
Okay, it's a Thursday.
Yep.
So basically, kind of a one-day prep, I'm
Yep.
guessing here.
Yep.
And Wayne, you never know with Wayne State.
Yep.
From one year to the next,
Yep.
you just don't know.
Yep.
Which Wayne State will we get, or is that even guessable?
Well, I think it's changing. So I would agree from my years here with that. The Wayne State's kind of some years up, they won the league, and then the next year they finished last. Their new coach is really good. I think he's, you can just kind of see what's happening at places, and they beat us last year down the stretch of the year at their place. No, we didn't have Max, but and I told him that you can see their program's about to go. Then they won in the first round of the conference tournament, made the semifinals, and they've battled some injury stuff. But I think Wayne State is going to be what I think they should be, which is a consistent contender year in and year out. As long as Smothers is there, I think that he's going to make them make that jump. Saying that, Rob Lee's their probably best player, and he's been out. Now Adley, who's their second or third best player, has been out. They've had that injury bug thing that seems to happen to teams in waves, and I think they're going to be fully healthy for us. They're going to present a lot of challenges. I picked them high in the league. I can't remember what it was, but third or fourth. I thought they were going to be really good this year. They're fifth. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the team that kind of makes a run. We just got to try to, at home, put that run off for, another day. And I do think, hopefully, that's where we can use kind of the momentum, the negative, and now the one pot. Like, let's get momentum going again. And I'm not a big let's worry about us person all the time, but in this case, with one day of prep, let's just play so incredibly hard. Let's just be so tough. Let's play the right way that we have shown, and I think that's probably the best way to go about it anyway. But with one day, that's the only option we have.
With Cal and Jackson making contributions and what I would call short week, does that change the rotation pattern any, based on energy?
Yeah. I mean, the nice part is we're playing 10 guys, and we were playing 9, and then Cal came back. Now we're back to 10. That's super helpful in a week where you have 3 games and you play Monday, Thursday, Saturday. The most besides Dylan anyone played last night was like 20 minutes roughly. That's helpful. It's not intentional. We're not doing it because we were trying to save anyone for the last 4 minutes of the game. We might have subbed a little bit more because we were up by enough, but up to that point we were trying to win. But the way we're doing that now involves a lot of depth, and we feel like we have a lot of different guys that can step in and night out. And frankly, when Julian didn't have a backup before Cal came back, because Julian was our only volume 3-point shooter. Now we have a backup for everyone but Dylan, and if we can find a Dylan backup, he won't be a backup. So we're not finding one of those. In general terms, we have enough guys now. We can go into each game, not just this week, but every week, with let's play them all. Let's see who's hot. Let's ride the hot hands. And hot hands is easy, you making shots, but who's defending really well? Who's, what point guard's giving us the best offensive burst? And Sam Privet, I think, is an all-conference player this year, but there might be a night where Jackson's better like he was last night. And our team's kind of embracing that. One of the nice things when you get your teeth kicked in is you get to go, you know what? I really don't care. I just want to win, and hopefully we have that mindset for the rest of the year. But it is a luxury to have the depth. It can be a negative. Would I rather be, a team like last year where we had all 4 or 5 guys that were going to play 30 minutes? Probably, because that means you have 4 or 5 all-conference guys. But the depth definitely gives you another set of options that you don't have with those teams.
Let's quickly rehash the Tech game. Good start. Kind of ran out of juice sort of at the end, but you got there. Looking back now in terms of, it's a rivalry game.
Yep.
You just don't know.
Yep, anything can happen at any given time. We came out ready to go, I think firing on all cylinders, and everybody was ready. And then I think at halftime, I don't want to say that we relaxed, but we were getting some good shots. They just weren't falling for us, and then it kind of trickled down. We were still ahead. We had a good lead going into the fourth, and then the fourth quarter, I think, is really what got us. But at the same time, we held on at the end, which is what matters, and we got that dub at home.
Have you been able to, and I look at the standings, and I know they mean one thing sometimes and they mean another thing some other times.
Yep.
So how good is Roosevelt?
It's,
because I saw them against Tech Saturday, and it's like,
they couldn't miss.
they're not bad.
Yeah.
And they kind of carried that momentum into you.
Oh, for sure. They brought it to us for sure. And they have a lot of different players, and it's a really hard matchup for us because they're 5. 35 was a really good player. She can shoot from the outside. She can get to the rim. She can go coast to coast when she gets a rebound. She was a very good player for them. And we had a hard time guarding her. But I think the other part, too, is we were getting layups, and we weren't making them. And we got to the free throw line. We struggled. And so it's like, okay, we just got to connect on a couple more shots and play with the confidence that we had. at Tech in that first half and at Grand Valley. I mean, so at halftime, we kind of talked about some things, and Roosevelt is going to beat some players. You know, they're going to beat some teams in our conference, and I think that's the one thing about the GLIAC is any given night, anybody can win, and it doesn't matter where the standings are. No game is going to be an easy game.
But Mackenzie showed up at the right time.
Yes, she did.
Last night.
Yes, she did. I mean, honestly, all our seniors was why we won that game. CJ Romero, she was our point guard. She was consistent, has been consistent all year, and just does a ton of little stuff leading us along the way. Ended up with 8 points. Kayla Turney hit some big shots. She was 3 for 3 from 3, and she did so much more that was not on the stat line. Just watching film, some of her defensive plays, some of her rebounds that she went up and got. She had 3 assists. She played outstanding. Obviously, Mackenzie hit a big 3 down the stretch, and then she got that steal right at the end to put us up 1. And then Alyssa Nims, she had 18 and does what she does with boards and everything. And Mackenzie got boards. I mean, our senior group last night really put us on their backs and said, we are not losing. And that was kind of awesome to see. And hopefully it continues.
You're going to have a hard time picking out a most improved player this year.
Yeah.
And that's a really good problem to have.
It's all about the team. And I think our players are excited for whoever it is that night, which is also, it says a lot to their character and to who we have in that locker room. It's not about one person. It's not about me. It's literally about the program and where we're at and what we want to do, and the fight and the grit and the battle each and every game, no matter who we play against, has been really, really good. And yeah, it can be anybody's night, and we're happy for that.
Similar to I asked Matt in terms of Wayne State, you just don't know what you're going to get.
No, and they're mixing up their starters a little bit too, so you're not really sure who's going to be starting. And they have some players that can go off for 25 easily, and a little bit from the guards to the posts. So, yeah, I mean, they're 500 right now in conference, but they're playing really good teams. So, you know, it's going to be a battle. We know that. Carrie's a very good coach, so they're coming. They're going to be prepared for us, and it's going to be a tough one again on Thursday.
I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe. Did you whisper into CJ's ear, start shooting more, please?
A little bit, yeah. But she does it in practice, and that's why I told her, I'm like, your teammates know you can shoot. They're looking for you to shoot, and so when someone's not guarding you, let it go. She kind of looked at me, and she's a point guard first mentality, which is to distribute the ball to her teammates and to get everybody else involved, and she's a very good job at that as well. But yeah, people aren't going to guard you if you don't score, and she can, so why not? We need to put up points right now. That's our biggest thing right now is you need to put up points.
Because you're playing the defense.
We're getting it done on that end. Yeah. Yep. And so if we can get a little bit more out of everybody on that offensive side, I think it would be huge. And Sarah Newcomer, she didn't make a shot last night, but she did so much more, getting a couple steals or just being in the way of people, and does all the little things. Again, that's not found in the stat sheet, but it's everybody. It's not one person. And that makes it fun for me too, because we need everybody to be good and to go down the stretch here and to keep going into February. It's not going to get easier. So the more people that we can get some playing time and some minutes, it's only going to help us.
Catch me up.
Yeah, so
you had some New Year's fun.
yes, well, yeah, we do always. It's kind of a tradition in college swimming and diving. A lot of teams go maybe somewhere warmer where they can train outside and get some long course meters time, which is the Olympic length, is 50-meter pool, and 25 yards. But it's always good for training. And so we were in Florida and had a really good training session down there. Athletes were great and came back and had a great training week last week. And now getting ready, we have a series of competitions coming up. So almost every weekend, not quite, but getting ready for conference. So coming up, we have Stevens Point this weekend. UW Stevens Point. It's a D3 school, and I love swimming them. The coach is really great. It's kind of one of those meets, up here, you want to find people that want to come up to see you, and then we always reciprocate, and we'll go down there next year. They have pretty good sprinter powerhouse, especially on the male side this year. So we do too. So that'll be a fun showdown on those events. And then on the women's side, they're not quite as strong this year, so it'll be nice for our women to maybe do some different events that they don't get to do. And sometimes you're surprised by that, and they throw them in something that you weren't expecting. So I'm looking forward for the weekend for sure.
Any surprise progress in terms of somebody you didn't expect to start making bigger steps?
Yeah, good question. I definitely feel you never know what you're going to get. You let them go home for 2 weeks and you hope that they train. Swimming is one of those really punishing sports. If you go home and do nothing, you could back yourself up a month of training. It's kind of relentless. Like you need to keep going and keep moving. So I was pleasantly surprised that everybody came back and had done their work at home and looked really good. The other worry is if they don't do anything at home and then you get back into training, you could look at some injuries. And we haven't had anything new going on, so that's good too. So I think overall, I'm not sure if I have necessarily any standouts. Maybe after this weekend, we'll see some pretty awesome stuff. But they've been looking good in training, and I'm just happy that they went home and did their homework over the break.
What is your schedule in terms of
Yeah.
training for them? I mean, I know you
Yeah.
must do some kind of morning work because everybody
Yes.
in the high school world does, so I figure you have to.
Yeah, I know we train a lot. Swimming. I always kind of laugh when other teams, have doubles just a little bit. Like we have doubles all the time, but they do get a couple mornings off, and then we work with their class schedule. Sometimes they have a morning practice and they get the afternoon off. Just depends on people's class schedule. But there's a lot of training. They'll have, especially for our distance group, they swim Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. And then every afternoon and on Saturdays. So again, it's a pretty grueling sport, but we have a really good group. They know what they have to do to be good. So that's what the rest of the country's doing. So if we want to be there at NCAA's, this is what we got to do.